introduce ourselves. So you can go first.
Okay, well, my name is Camille Jones. I am 23 years old. I'm a dancer. I dance here at Elementz with a dance team called TA Squared. I'm a graduate from UC. Yeah, that's yeah. Okay, cool.
I'm Sierra Fogel. I'm with Tellus Zine. I consider myself like an artist around Cincinnati, and yeah.
What's up? My name is Leslie Walker, also known as Kid Punk, and I am a rapper slash artist slash amazing great guy that you should meet. Hey. And I am 18 years old from Elementz.
Hello, my name is Joyce. I'm a student at Aiken High School. I'm 15 years old. I was born in Rwanda. It's located in East Africa. And at my school, I do cross-country and track.
Our discussion today is going to be about self-identity. And I'll just open up, the floor for discussion. What is self-identity to you?
Well, I think if you just take apart that word itself, identity to me is a combination of like biopsychosocial factors, your environment, where you come from, your biology. And then when you bring apart the self, I think that's separate from identity. So identity could be a combination of where you come from, what people may think of you, how you maybe assert yourself in a room. And then that self-identity is that title that you give yourself, that you created for yourself, maybe by like your interests or things like that. And that also has to do with like self-expression too. So I think together those self and identity are the work that you put in to become who you are, and that's how you like say to the world, this is me, like how you show the world who you are.
Okay. I would not have had an answer that well. I couldn't answer the question that well myself. Did anyone else want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think self-identity is like obviously something that you create yourself. Like, I think that it's something that you envision, someone that you envision yourself to be. You kind of work towards that and you own up to it. But I think that self-identity is so important because it kind of makes you different from other people, and that might be bad for others, but I think that differences are beautiful and that they need to be celebrated. Mm-hmm. And becoming up to that step of self-identity that you're trying to envision yourself with, and expressing that is really, really important.
Big facts. Anybody over here?
Yeah, I think self-identity is like who you are and not what others think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, that's my definition of self-identity. Yeah, and what you want yourself to be. Like your identity, where you come from, and just who you think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
I guess I should go.
And so now we're just going to change the question. Now I'm playing. Go ahead.
Because I don't like being left out, feeling lonely by myself. Identity to me is a label placed on ourselves by ourselves and others around us. Identity can mean many things to many people, as we see with the 4 people here. But identity to me personally is just a label that's been placed on it. Me, identity is just something that we gain and we can change depending on if you are willing to make the effort to change your identity. And it's basically I don't know how to put it into words except for just saying label constantly. But it's to give an example, we are all human at the end of the day. Whether you're black, you're white, you're Asian, whatever, you are a human at the end of the day. We all come from this planet Earth. No matter what you believe in, no matter all that, we can all agree it's Earth. Whether you believe it's round or flat or whatever you believe in, it's Earth. We're all from Earth and we all are born in here on this planet given us by trees, dirt, and water and animals to eat from. So identity, to me, is something that was just given by people who wanted to sit here and be like, well, yeah, we're all human, but I'm special for this one thing, or because of this, my identity is this. Which at the end of the day, we're all humans. To me, identity doesn't really mean anything because I feel like it ends up corrupting our mindset to believe in something that should never be believed in, and is that we are superior and we are either lesser or superior than another person based on our identity is not equal or the same as that person. And that's what identity is to me.
Okay.
A label to be thrown around.
What about self-identity?
Self-identity?
Yeah.
Self-identity is what I said in the beginning. Self-identity is something that we can either make the effort to change or just sit around and have ourselves. Because no matter what you do, now in this day and age, we're not like cavemen back then banging on rocks. Now in this day and age, you have an identity as soon as you come into this earth. As soon as you come into this earth, like you've been to seeing a baby when they first get born and everything, right?
No, I haven't.
Well, I mean, like, you know when a baby comes home and you know when the baby gets put up and on the internet and everything and everybody shows off the baby. The first thing we see, oh, that baby's so cute. Oh, that baby's this and that baby's that. Believe it or not, that is an identity that you're getting put on. That you're cute. Your identity is cute.
I can definitely see how that's a label. Like being labeled cute from birth, or like an ugly baby. You're being labeled ugly baby or be a cute baby. But I think the definition of self-identity is like how you identify yourself. So we could just keep going though. I mean, if your answer is still the same, we could just keep going.
Yeah.
The answer's still the same?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting, though, what Leslie brought up. Like, identity is a concept that we as human beings created because we're higher thinking creatures, right? Like, animals don't go about coming up with, like, concepts for themselves. They notice the differences, obviously, for survival purposes, right? Like, a lion is going to be able to differentiate itself from a hippo, but they don't go about, coming up with words and phrases and, you know what I mean, spending so much time figuring out ways to, like, okay, this is how I'm going to demarcate myself from this other thing, right? That's a human thing that we do, right? Just like all the other abstract concepts like love and time and things like that. So, yeah, I think that's really interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah.
All right, so my next question was, if you are willing to share, how do you identify yourself? I identify as a gangster.
I identify as myself as a black male, obviously a human at the end of the day. And I identify as myself as a self-made, what was the word for it? Self-made, I don't want to say genius. That sounds like Kanye West. Like,
That does sound like Kanye. I am
self-made God, self-made God, America, Walt Disney. But entrepreneur, a self-made entrepreneur and out-of-box thinking human. That's why I identify myself as someone out the box.
Like Roddy Ricch? Put the stick in the box.
I mean, I guess I would consider myself a young creative and a powerful black woman, a powerful queer black woman, an artist, and nature lover, earth lover.
Oh, yeah, I love that definition. And I feel like mine, and I'm going to preface it with this is, I guess, like a sort of title or identity that was long in the making. So I'm sitting here like as proudly being able to say it. I think of myself as a proud, determined, fierce black woman, writer, dancer, creative, whose strengths are compassion and empathy, and who's always on a quest for knowledge and wisdom, and who only wants to to show kindness and love to other people. That's a really long definition, but that's how I feel. That's how I navigate my own life. And like I said, that was things that took a long time for me to get to. For a long time, I didn't think of myself as like courageous or brave or powerful or strong or bold or anything like that. And a lot of times I didn't even like to think of myself as like, I don't want to just keep putting myself into the box of like black and female, but I mean, now that I'm at this age, I'm like, no, I'm proud to take on those labels, you know what I mean, now. And I don't think of them so much as stopping points or boxes that are so confined that I can't get out of them. They're not boxes at all now to me at this point. They're tools and they're strengths and they're like feathers, a part of the great wings that I have, you know, a part of me, so.
I identify myself too as a black woman who's strong, an athlete, unique from others. And I just like do my own things. I don't do this, that because they said so. I do it because I want to and I feel like it, with nobody else is putting pressure on me. Yeah.
That was good. Is it my turn?
You say you identified as a gangster.
Oh, I did. See? Okay, so do you think there's a difference between a label and an identity? Or are those the same things? Or can they be the same thing sometimes, but sometimes they're different? Or was that too complex of a question? I'm out here, I'm thinking it, you know what I'm saying? This is what gangsters do, we think of questions. IQ is 1,000.
I mean, I think that they can definitely be the same thing, but like when I hear it, identity and label, like label seems so much more intense to me. Like it sounds like a more powerful and kind of confined word, like something, how you're talking about being confined in a box. Like when I hear label, that's kind of what I feel like. And identity, when I hear it, it feels like something I would step up to and something that would be comfortable like talking about. But I think that they can mean the same thing. I guess just whatever context you're trying to portray.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're the same but can also be different. So like identity, to me, it has more to do with action, what you do and what you say. But labeling, I would just say, like, it's what you label. It doesn't have that much to do with actions and the things you say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because labels can definitely change a lot, like over time. I mean, I guess your identity can change too, what you identify yourself as, but labels, you know, it feels just, the word label just feels like what other people put on you instead of what you're, you know, putting on yourself. And I could just see somebody inside an old Honda Civic and be like, they broke, they don't know nothing about cars. I can immediately just put a whole lot of labels, because I think the word label, it's really easy to equate that with judging people. And so I try my hardest not to label people, except him. I call him ugly all the time. But we're friends.
Like that word label is, it is kind of like dangerous, and it has taken on a life of its own, especially nowadays. Because nobody necessarily wants to be labeled by anybody else. You want to do the work to call yourself your own thing, right?
Yeah.
And labels can become dangerous. But at the same time, how you said, are they that different? In definition, maybe not, but I do think identity is a lot more nuanced than label or the act of labeling. Because as you said, you do get to step into your identity. You get to like do the work to become that identity that you can proudly claim for yourself. Whereas a label, a lot of the times, if you're not being the one in control and the authority that's saying, okay, this is the type of title that I'm taking on, and somebody else is just being like pointing their finger at you and saying, this is what you are because this is what I saw you at first glance, so this is what I'm going to call you. That's where it becomes a little more muddy and a little bit more like dangerous and hard to break out of.
Facts.
I
No
would
false
also
statements.
say like label has something to do with guessing, because like when you're labeling things, you're not sure if it's right or wrong. But identity is just like who you are, like what you know yourself as.
And then hopefully you are open to sharing. Has there ever been a time where you felt unaccepted or even threatened by how you identify yourself?
Yeah, always. I mean, I guess there's a different type of like, I guess like, sometimes I feel threatened within my own body. I feel like growing up I felt that because I didn't want to believe, I couldn't believe that my skin color was a powerful thing because people were labeling me, and the labels that I heard about like being black, being any type of darker skin than white was so bad. And like I feel like within myself I kind of battled with that, and also with like being queer growing up was very hard for me too within myself. But I think that being open about it, kind of about everything within myself, kind of gave me like liberation. But also when you look around the world, like you see how dangerous being different can be, and where certain places it is very much threatened for life or death or just getting along with people. And I think that every day it's been like a struggle for me personally, but also has been very liberating because differences are beautiful, and I've grown to realize that and grown to feel that.
Can you repeat the question?
I asked. No, I remember it because I typed it. I actually didn't remember it, so thank God I typed it. I asked, has there ever been a time where you felt unaccepted or even threatened by other people because of how you identify yourself?
Yeah, like, so for me, I came from Africa, and I've been in America for 4 years and a half. So I like, my English is not that good. So in most cases, I try to fit in, but people judge me for who I am just because I don't speak English, like the language, and the food here is very different. So sometimes it's a threat to be different from others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? No?
I feel threatened every day being a short man in America.
See?
So hard to be a short man in America.
Those
No one
top
really
shelves
wants
must
to
really get you.
They do. Threatens me every time I walk in the store and see something really good put on a high.
Okay.
I gotta be like,
All right. Do you actually have an answer? You're just about to rant about being short.
I feel like, for me personally, I feel like some people also agree with this, but being an open-minded person in America could be really threatening, because America isn't really built on being open-minded. We're not built on accepting everybody for who they are, accepting a lot of people for what they believe in and what they are. Like, our country was legit built on going to other countries, pushing this agenda and pushing our beliefs on people, and to get them to do what we want them to do.
Yeah,
like, it's a very strong like disagreement on being open in America. So for me, I try my best to be open about everything and try to keep an open mind and an open thought process when it comes to thinking about everything that goes on in America, extremely like now and what goes on now in these tough times, minus the corona and minus what's going on outside, because being black in America, there's a lot of things we have to do. Like, no matter if you sit here and you think you're the most untouchable person, you think you're this, you're that, there's the things that you should have a mindset of doing as a black person. Like right now with George Floyd going on right now, Like, as a black person, I honestly believe you should have a thought process to it. At least have empathy. If you can't even go out in the streets, if you can't give cash to anybody right now, you should at least have the empathy to feel what his family and feel what thousands of people across America are in these streets protesting for. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you think, he is. No matter if you're like, oh, well, he's a criminal, you know this. No matter if you're like, oh, he was a free man, this or that or third. No matter what you believe, he was still someone who got murdered over just bias, over a process that's been put on somebody through America, in a process that is all around corrupted. And to have empathy and to not have empathy to that, I know, I don't feel like
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Sometimes it is hard to put stuff in words, especially when you're passionate about it. So I understand. So you don't have to finish your sentence. Cool. So you mentioned accepting people, like America, like historically, instead of accepting people's differences, we've been trying to change. Well, I ain't gonna say we. We ain't gonna say we. Nah, but America has been trying to change people and make people, you know, I guess you can say Americanized everywhere else that ain't America, like with imperialism and colonialism. So I think it is really important to accept people for all their differences. How do you think we can achieve world peace? You can't say what I said.
That's a complicated question. No, it's okay. That's good. We need to have complicated questions, like going around. But just like how you brought up whether we felt like we've been threatened just for being, I think the same thing goes with answering that question, because I think a lot of what's a part of the remedy would be about exchange, like cultural exchange and seeing the world and opening your mind. But we can say that in theory really easily, but in practice that's really hard. But I do think like the first step just as an individual comes from self-acceptance, because like for myself, if I'm going back to the earlier question, as a woman, I feel like I've been under threat just for my gender, right? So I walk into a space that may be like predominantly male, and you already kind of feel this sense of like, oh my gosh, like what am I supposed to do? You kind of feel like, you know what I mean? Like your body is already kind of like under attack just by watching eyes, right? And even if you're like walking down the street and you may be in a certain area and guys may be like hollering stuff at you, and you could be minding your own business, but as a woman, they don't necessarily see you just as an individual. They may see you just as like their appetizing little thing, and they want to just call things out at you. And in another sense, can you edit that?
Yo. What?
No.
Okay. My bad. Apologies. But in another sense, let me get back on track. In another sense, aside from being like a woman, there's a sense of like feeling not necessarily threatened, but like excluded just based off of interest. So growing up, I never really felt like I fit in completely anywhere. Like I could get along with everybody, but I never really felt like I had a home in any one place with any one group of people, because my interests was just very different. And like I moved around a lot growing up, and so I went to a lot of different schools, and I call myself a geek. Like I'm a self-proclaimed geek with like movies and books and stuff like that. And those weren't necessarily things a lot of like little kids wanted to talk about, or like just really geeky, nerdy things. And I was kind of like excluded just based off of that, or just silly comments like, oh, you talk white or you act white, silliness, stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense, but because it doesn't fit into the certain realm that you're in, you're automatically looked at as other, right? So that's a sense of being like, okay, my life or my identity isn't of value to other people. So I think you have to work through those things to come to a place where you just accept yourself no matter what, whether you fit in or not. So I think that first step is self-acceptance, because that comes with growth, and that comes with feeling like, okay, I don't need to try to fit in any one place. And then once you have developed a self-acceptance, I think you can work towards being an advocate for other people, because then you can identify when other people are hurting or when other people are feel excluded. You can like see those little things in people just by observing. And then once you can do that, you can start to be like, okay, come here, come under my wing. I see that you're hurting. I see that you feel different. I see that you're being like you've become an outcast by society or whatever. And then by doing that, you're working to show other people that we need to be more tolerant, we need to be more respectful, we need to be more loving because of people's differences, and not alienate them. And like you said, view those differences as beautiful qualities, not as things to be afraid of or try to like pin down or change or anything like that. And that sounds like a really like romantic answer, but I do think it starts with like really simple things of just being able to love yourself, and then therefore you can love other people and show that love in gregarious ways.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that like empathy is really big with that too, because like if you can have no empathy for yourself, how can you have empathy for other people? Right. And it's just crazy. Like nowadays I see how much people just don't give, like they don't care. Like they don't care about people. They don't care about things that happen. And I think that if you realize that you're kind of not, I guess, speaking up about things or not really caring at all, like you need to kind of check yourself and like reevaluate how you're feeling and how you feel about yourself. And because that if you just have no care for anything, like it's just so dangerous for other people. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
absolutely.
I think we can achieve world peace if everyone come together and accept each other's differences, because that's who they are, and people need to understand that and love them for who they are, because nowadays people love you for who you're not. Like if you're trying to be real, then they don't like you as much as if you were trying to be fake, trying to be someone else you're not. But that also comes with self-love. I think people need to love themselves, and like if people don't like you for who you are, the least you can do is love yourself for being different from them. That's what I think. That's how I think we can achieve world peace.
Yeah.
Very good content. Me?
If you want to answer, you don't have to.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Noel Hawes. I will answer your question. I will answer your question. Personally, in my own opinion, I feel like world peace probably will never be anything that will happen for real, because world peace, the process of peace is you can't have peace without having a negative. You can't have a positive without a negative, you know. If there is no negative, then the positive is just, you know, it's not a thing. Like, only reason we can look at this table as in front of us right now as a light color is because we see the darkness in this color. And we see the darkness all around us because there is a darkness to look at. If there was no darkness and it was just this color, then this would just be a color. There wouldn't be no light color, there wouldn't be no dark color. It would just be this color. And that's what I think peace and negativity is something as in, to go back in how I was saying earlier, a label that we put on things, as in a good or a bad, when everything is mostly going to be, I think we should strive to get to a gray zone where, yes, you can believe what you want to believe, and yes, you can have these thoughts. Like, okay, you don't like this, you don't like that. You can have these thoughts. But I feel like it's selfish and disgusting to act upon these thoughts, to sit here and try to take your thoughts as completely right and completely the correct answer, and to shun anybody else who has a different opinion, or to try to demean and destroy anybody else who has a different opinion. Like, cool, you have a different opinion. Cool. You think your opinion is right. cool. Keep that to yourself. Keep that in your mind. You can believe all you want. But to selfishly act on that belief, I feel like will always be a problem that we will have as a human being, not as an American thing, not as a a country thing. But I think we'll always have that problem as a human being as long as we exist. But I think it's perfect for us to strive to that gray zone where people move from acting upon these beliefs to only just keeping them to themselves.
Speaking on what you just brought up, that's a great point. I think it comes back to the whole valuing yourself, because if you do, obviously there's going to be people, like you said, in the world who are going to do things in a more negative light, or that's going to impede on somebody else's rights. That happens naturally. It's a human flaw. But I think if you value yourself and you have that self-love, that acceptance, that confidence, those negative things thrown at you, if you've done the work to work on yourself, they won't hinder you as much as you think they would. You know what I mean? Because if you have that shield around you, just like your sense of self, your self-esteem, if you have that shield, that armor around you already within, I don't think those negative words, those negative thoughts are really gonna hamper your ascension. You know what I mean? I think that's the hardest thing to do, because it's really easy to hurt somebody else's feelings when you're hurting on the inside, right? When you're really down, you don't really want to do the work to build yourself up. You just want to bring people down with you. So I think those people, and I do believe that's a small group of people. I don't think the negativity that we face in the world is this whole large, encompassing, dark figure that's hovering over everyone. I think it's a small percentage of people that exist in the world who live by these negative codes and who work really, really hard to make sure that they exist. But I think if the larger population, which I think is happening, especially with younger people, the larger population continues to push the wheel of positivity and acceptance and just self-love, I think we can overcome and quiet that negative voice that does exist. That may never go away, but I do think we can lower that volume to a point where it's almost inaudible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do like playing with the game.
I mean, I think along what you were saying, I get your anger towards people who are in the negative light and are trying to express things. But I mean, I think that it is valid for everyone to express how they feel until it becomes hurtful or hateful or harmful towards someone else. Mm-hmm. And that's where I draw the line, and I think the line should be drawn. But as long as you have an opinion, I mean, it's your opinion. You can't go and tell someone, no, right, that's wrong and that's bad that you're expressing this. But you can keep it to yourself and how you feel about that. But if someone is being hurtful or harmful and threatening someone with how they're feeling, that's when it's becoming toxic and a dark thing.
I also feel the same way. I feel like if people have nothing nice to say about you, they should keep their opinion to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like if you can't even fathom to sympathize with Itachi, you shouldn't have an opinion. You shouldn't have an opinion.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was about to say, that sounds...
You can't even look for Itachi's opinion.
That wraps up this podcast, this discussion. I appreciate everyone for coming out. If you have any closing remarks, you cannot say I'm kidding. Yes, no, maybe.
I got a closing remark.
Go ahead. I will turn your mic. I will mute you.
This closing remark doesn't have to do with what we was talking about, but I think it should be said. I feel like people should love themselves, love others who put you up, that doesn't mean just love others who give you like just extreme love, because you know you never know where that love is coming from. But at least love the people who can appreciate you for you, and appreciate your mindset for your mindset. And on top of that, love yourself, you know, like I said. And buy my man's Noah's album and buy my album when it comes out, you know.
I'll keep that in there. You never know who's listening.
Thank you, Noah, for
Thank
getting
you.
this whole thing together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. To all the people, really?
Oh, cool.
Nice. Well, to all the people who are eventually going to listen to this, practice patience, seek wisdom, and work on that self-acceptance, that self-love every day you can, and know that even if you don't do the best that you can today, you still got tomorrow to do better. So that's what I want to leave everyone with.
This is Noah Hawes from Elementz. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. Elementz is a youth center downtown Cincinnati centered around hip-hop and community. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want to get more involved, you can come down to our center, located at 1640 Ray Street. This video was brought to you by Democracy and Me, Elementz, the Kennedy Heights Art Center, and Tell Us Zine. Tell Us Zine is a digital publication led by an all-youth editorial board, showcasing visual art and creative writing by young adults from across greater Cincinnati. Tell Us's mission is to provide a platform for young people to express themselves bravely and creatively as a part of our diverse community. Tell Us Zine is sponsored by the Kennedy Heights Art Center with support from the Charles H. Dater Foundation and ArtsWay.